Welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. I teach energy healing courses online through Mayastar Academy, share spiritual guidance and mystical musings on the Maya Muses blog, and provide healing, ritual and spellcasting services as a starseeded shaman and professional witch. Today is episode 47 in the Mayastar Unscripted series, and we're going to be discussing the power of embracing divine peace, choosing spiritual surrender, and using energy healing techniques to restore balance and generally make our lives a little bit easier. At the end of this episode, I'll be drawing from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle for our Starseed Guidance segment, where I'll be presenting some ideas for reflection and meditation. And as usual, you can view the card for this week's Oracle on the Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel by going to the channel homepage and then to the Community Posts tab. As usual, I come armed with notes but without a script, so we'll be meandering around these topics and pursuing the scenic route to enlightenment. If this sounds interesting to you, stick around and while away some time with me as we explore these things together. Find out about the different ways you can work with me and discover my energy healing and spiritual development courses by visiting my website at mayastar.net. You can also join the Mayastar mailing list to stay up to date with the latest special offers. Now, sit back, relax your shoulders, take a sip of chamomile tea, exhale deeply, and let's explore. So today's episode is inspired by the work I've been doing with the All Is Well activation course. It's a really powerful energy to work with early in the morning. It can really set you up for the day. I find it's very beneficial for preventing you from getting sucked into that maelstrom of circling thoughts and habits, the way your mind starts listing things off early in the morning. Like when you first wake up, it's almost like there's a gap between you waking up and your mind waking up. And once your mind wakes up, that's it. Your inner peace is finished for the day because your mind is going through your to-do list continuously and your mind is attaching itself to the things that you're experiencing, the headlines, the social media, the constant notifications coming through on your phone and that kind of thing. And really, we're not cut out for that. Our minds are not made to have that scattered approach to consciousness where we're tied up with several things at once, continuously multitasking and never really feeling grounded, never feeling at peace because we're always feeling a bit overstimulated and we're always feeling like we need to form an opinion or a judgment about something. So it can just feel like once you wake up, as soon as you've switched on to the world, as soon as you've picked up your phone, as soon as your brain starts, that's it, your inner peace is done for the day. But that fleeting moment between waking up and properly starting the day, I think is the perfect opportunity for really connecting with your inner peace. And so in this episode, I want to talk about some reasons why you might want to do that and ways you might do it. But my main point is that peace is not something you can find outside of yourself. Peace is something that is always within you. It's always accessible. You don't have to go away on holiday to find it, for example. Going on holiday might help if it's the right kind of holiday. It might allow you to put your phone away and tap into some self-care practices with your extra time and that kind of thing. But your inner peace is accessible to you all of the time if you just know how to tap in. But the main thing that you need to do is to get rid of the things that are blocking you from experiencing the inner peace. Because that peace is your connection to divinity, to your higher self, and to the universe. So if you go without experiencing that sense of peace for any length of time, you can feel quite isolated and cut off from yourself and cut off from the universe, and maybe even cut off from your feelings. So I do think it's something that it's worth prioritizing, because if you have a tendency to get really caught up in the demands of the 3D reality, you might be losing out, and you might be losing touch with what really makes you, you. So if you take some steps to reconnect with your inner peace, what can you expect to happen in your life? How might it change things? And I think one of the main things that it changes is the tendency to hang on to negative thought patterns. And they don't have to be negative thoughts. You don't have to be sitting there judging yourself, judging others, or being pessimistic. Negative thought patterns can be when you know you've got to do the shopping later in the day and your mind doesn't stop going over the shopping list, like it's in the background running the program for checking everything in the house to see what you need, when you could just write it on a list and forget about it. But we can get into habits of storing these things in our minds and letting them go round and round, and it's a completely pointless way of thinking. Therefore, it's a negative pattern because it's using up your brain capacity, it's taking energy, it's siphoning your consciousness in one direction, and you may be missing out on other things that are important, missing out on opportunities. We might also experience a release of the attempt to control external circumstances. We can get into loops where we're trying to micromanage everything, where your mind is really fixing on all the things that you need, or all the things that you think you need to be happy. And you might start thinking of the future and worrying about whether you'll have the things that will make you happy, what you must do to get the things that will make you happy, and what you need to stop doing so that you will have space for the thing. And you start to micromanage in a really unhealthy way, because you're speculating about things that you can't possibly know, that you can't possibly anticipate. And if you can tap into your inner peace, that's another negative habit that you can just overcome by replacing it essentially with a good habit. And that's not to mention the spiritual benefits, the ability to tune in to your intuition, to feel clearer about the wisdom that you already hold. A bit of clarity, bringing a bit of clarity into your daily life that's possibly not there because you're so busy giving your energy to so many things at once. And by doing that, by tapping into your intuition, you can experience a deeper sense of trust in the universe and the unfolding of the universe, an appreciation that even when things don't seem right, maybe things just aren't aligned with what you think they should be, you can trust that the universe is unfolding in the way it's supposed to. Everything is the way it's supposed to be, and so are you. How long has it been since you felt that? I think for most people it's probably been quite a while, and it's kind of tragic because when you think about how much that realization could change your life, it's profound. It would give you such an appreciation of the experiences you have with life. It could almost rewrite your relationships. You would have a very different connection to people, to your work, and to the things that you do to progress your healing journey. If you're starting off from a place of peace and an understanding that everything is as it should be, even if you don't like it, even if it's a difficult time you're going through, if you can just let go of the resistance to the fact that things are the way they are, you free up a lot of energy to look at solutions, to look for the silver lining, to look for opportunities, and to bring your energy back to yourself rather than always firefighting and trying to be okay when you're not. You can start from a place of being okay by default, and then when things are rocky and things are difficult, you at least can appreciate the point of balance that you want to return to. Like your new normal can be much more balanced, peaceful, and harmonious state. And the more you experience the inner peace, the more that you feel connected with the universe, and the more that you have that sense that all is well, all is as it should be, your whole life, your whole perspective can start to shift. So then the question becomes, what's stopping you and why is it stopping you? Why have we prioritized so many other things over our well-being and our spiritual health? I do think smartphones have quite a lot to answer for in this regard, because they do tend to keep us overstimulated and paying attention to different things, to arguments in comment sections and endlessly scrolling on social media and that kind of thing. So your energy becomes externally focused, not on anything worthwhile, not on anything that's bringing you peace or enhancing your relaxation time or inspiring you to feel gratitude or happiness. It's really just a time killer. Maybe it's a peace killer too. And it's because we're prioritizing that over the inner peace that we don't have the inner peace. If we just change the amount of energy we're putting into it, we take that energy back from the things that we don't want and put it into the things that we do want, our lives will radically transform. And it could happen in an instant because it's really just a decision. As I said, the peace is within you. It's not something you need to search for online. It's not something you're going to uncover scrolling endlessly through Instagram. Although I'm on Instagram, so you might want to follow my Instagram page. You might find some peace on my page. I try to keep it upbeat and tuned into the law of attraction, but you wouldn't want to spend hours on there. And if you just take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to focus all of your attention on your inner peace each day, it could create miracles in your life, opening up new opportunities and just making your life a lot easier in ways that you haven't anticipated. When you're in a low vibrational state, when your energy is scattered and your consciousness is really tied up in the 3D reality, the outer world, you do have a tendency to overthink things. You do have a tendency to react rather than respond. You're more emotional, perhaps even a bit more volatile because you're constantly distracted. So you're not tuning into your wisdom, you're not tuning into your intuition. And you'll tend to feel disconnected. So imagine living a life where those things, although they may come up, are not going to be your daily habit. And think about how much more you could experience of the world if your energy was not distracted by all of those things. And as we all know, I do have a bias when it comes to practices that can help. There are a lot of ways you can kindle the awakening of your inner peace and that reconnection of the divinity within. But energy healing practices are the ones that I recommend because those are the ones that I teach. And in particular, as I mentioned at the start of this episode, the All Is Well activation is the one that I'm really inspired to talk about today. It's a very powerful attunement for something so simple, for an energy healing practice that is so simple. No rituals, no symbols, no elaborate practices that you need to set aside a lot of time for. This is one that you can easily work with even when you're doing other things. So I recommend using something that you do every day without needing to think about it. Things like walking the dog, having a shower, doing the washing up, all of the little mundane tasks where you're not actually focused on the task at hand, you're in autopilot. And I feel like those sorts of activities can create really useful points in the day for us to connect with our energy healing practice. And bringing in the All Is Well activation energy would be a great way to make those mundane tasks more productive. Or as I mentioned earlier, that point when you first wake up, before you start the day, before your brain starts the day, or before your brain starts anticipating the day and spiraling in thoughts and ideas, connect with the All Is Well activation at that point of the day and set yourself a new default. And whenever you find yourself becoming distracted or worn out, stressed, upset, dysregulated, or distracted from what you're doing, then reconnect with the All Is Well activation and bring yourself back to center. Because working with an energy healing practice like that, it can clear the distractions and debris within your energy field very quickly. But if you connect with that energy regularly, every day, over a period of time, you're really training your energy and training your mind to stay aligned with that peace no matter what's happening around you, to stay aware that your default is that balanced and harmonious state. It's also a good energy to use when you're having a relaxing bath. If you're doing something already in your daily practice for relaxation, adding an energy healing modality can really amplify the effect. So like your yoga practice or your meditation practice or any ritual work that you do, you can include energy healing practices to enhance those experiences and bring about some real profound transformation that could really change the whole course of your life. So if you think about spiritual mastery and what does it really entail? And what it really entails is learning to trust that we don't need to control everything. We just need to trust ourselves to handle the fallout, whatever comes our way. No amount of thinking, planning, worrying, stressing, losing sleep is going to set you up for success. It could do quite the opposite, in fact. And no amount of worrying is going to change what happens in the future. So it makes sense to just relax and trust that whatever it presents, whatever the future presents, whatever the fates present, you're going to deal with it with your intuition. You're going to retain your inner peace and you'll navigate the world with that in mind. It's a case of trusting that the universe knows what it's doing, even when you're not sure what it's doing. Trust that the universe is unfolding in accordance with its divine blueprint, and you are unfolding in accordance with yours. And you can keep trying to second guess it, but you're not privy to the divine blueprint, so sometimes you just have to go with the flow, trust that everything is in order, and respond to life instead of reacting to it. And so the core message of this episode is to reflect on the idea that all is well, that this is an actual fact in your life that you can depend on. This is a spiritual reality, and somewhere deep inside, you have a source of peace that reassures you that all is well. Nothing is forgotten in this philosophy. All is well. And all you need to do is choose to surrender to that reality, to go with the flow, to have faith in the universe, and to allow yourself to experience the peace of that philosophy. And if you think about how it could change your life, think of how it might change the lives of those around you. The way that you interact with other people could be quite different. If you have inner peace, you'll be inspiring other people to tap into that energy too. So what you do for yourself, what you do to progress your own healing journey, what you do to awaken spiritually is making a powerful contribution to the collective. It's something that you're doing for everyone. So let go, trust, align, and remember you already have everything you need within you. All is truly well. And now it's time for the Starseed Guidance segment, where we seek some spiritual inspiration for the week, drawn from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle which I've been using to connect with my Lemurian guides for ideas we can reflect on and use as a jumping off point for our spiritual practice. And today's card is titled Rising to Pleiadian Frequencies. It features a tiny bird, perhaps a hummingbird, and it's surrounded by a radiating white light energy matrix with shapes and swirls. It almost looks a bit like a spider's web, or it looks a bit like light language written into a swirling background of blue and lilac clouds or energy. The colour and the image give a feeling of the element of air, of communication and connection, hope and higher consciousness, the crown chakra and the third eye. It's a very beautiful card. But let's have a look at the guidebook and see what messages this card has for us today. Okay. Rising to the Pleiadian frequencies. Sacred bond. Healing clears space for higher energies. That's rather appropriate for today's discussion. Nurture with gentle music, flowers and crystals. Healing the lower bodies clears space for higher energies. The Pleiadians remind me of my source vibration, the cosmic heart source, to clear old energy and heal old wounds. It does seem to be very much aligned with today's episode, in fact, doesn't it? The idea of clearing away all those blocks and the things that are siphoning our attention and energy away from the things that would really help us to develop and grow and experience wholeness and gratitude in the present. Pleiadian beings of light are reaching out to connect with us in a space of love and truth, to make themselves known again, enter into their vibration, to be lifted up to a higher reality, a dimension of peace and healing. You have drawn this card because you are ready to be nurtured by the activation of your cosmic remembrance. You have the ability to access your Akashic records so that you can remember your natural affinity with the Pleiadians from times before their information became suppressed. Allow the Pleiadians to raise your vibration and to bring in light codes which transmute your DNA. It's interesting, isn't it? It's very much aligned with what we've been talking about today. And I do work with the Pleiadians a lot. I've channeled a number of courses that you can find on my website, mayastar.net, the Pleiadian DNA Clearing and Activation course. That can also be a good way to help you to restore your divine blueprint, bring you back to your original divine design, and release you from the blocks and the debris that can build up within your energy field. See, the Pleiadians brought great wisdom to the Lemurian consciousness, the crystallization of the divine plan. They knew how a physical vessel for the human of light could be created, because they once walked the same path. The Pleiadians were once starseeded themselves by other star races. They were in much joy to pass on the divine knowledge of activating the physical body. It's funny that it mentions light language quite a lot. Light language is a spiritual practice that anybody can learn, and I have a number of courses that include light language mantras, which can help you to inspire your own light language. By working with the mantras, it can help you to connect with the Lemurian light language dialect. Although light language is unique for every person. Oh, right, and here it says, to raise your vibration, it is important to first connect to your physical body. Your physical body is the conduit for higher frequencies, and like a tuning fork, it can guide you to the right vibrations. If you neglect your physical body, you can lose your connection with it when you raise your vibration. But this is not where you are guided now. We want you to be on earth and in the heavens at the same time, without a split or separation. So we've got some great ideas to reflect on today. And I think the starseed guidance we've received echoes what we've already been talking about with regard to cultivating inner peace and going with the flow. So it might be that if you feel that Pleiadian connection, bringing those Pleiadian energies into your daily practice would be a good way for you to restore your inner peace this week. This deck is really serving us well, so I hope you're enjoying the Starseed guidance segments. I'll be posting an image of this card on the Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel in the community posts section, so you can check it out there. Go to the channel homepage and then to the community posts tab. And don't forget, from today's guidance, please take only what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. If you've enjoyed today's Unscripted, please let me know in the comments. Give the podcast a like or a 5-star review so that the algorithm can get some idea of what sort of audience they should be sharing these episodes to. And if you have a Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or other podcast app, please make sure you follow me over there too. It makes a huge difference if you go to my podcast and follow it. The more people that follow it, the more people they will recommend my episodes to. So it makes a huge difference. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you're leaving this episode suffused with good vibes and great ideas. You can hear more from me today by exploring previous Unscripted episodes. And remember that these episodes are pre-recorded and inspired by the comprehensive articles on my blog. So to learn more and read my top tips and recommendations, please visit the Maya Muses blog at blog.mayastar.net. I hope to see you back here again soon. And in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.